Hey folks, what's happening? Yeah, today I am at the schoolhouse again. I want to dig more trenches. I want to get down. I want to see the history. I want to see the layers. And the best way to do that is to dig a trench. It is like a time capsule when you dig down into the dirt. Just a complete time capsule. As you go deeper, the objects should be getting older. And that's what I want to do today. Dig out some nice trenches around this old, mid-19th century, pre-Civil War schoolhouse. I have a few theories about this place that I'll share with you later on. And hope to find the stuff that you can't find with a metal detector. I am the RelicSeekr, and that's how you find relics. So, let's get in here. Let's open this place up, and let's start exploring in more detail. This is how you discover new things about a property. I'm not just here for the coins. I'm not just here for, that stuff. I am, but I'm not. I'm also here to learn more about this property. Part of what I do is basically tell the story. Try to find out as much as I can about that old schoolhouse or other properties that I've been on. And I try to find as much information as possible, and that information comes in many different ways. And there's no way to get the full story with just a metal detector. You have to dig. You have to get into the ground. So we're going to do that today. And what I've learned back here is a burn pit. This is in the very back of the property. There was a lot of burning going on. That's a big burn pit. That's a burn pit. That's a burn pit. So, what I'm going to end up doing eventually is digging a nice trench here, right in the very back of this property where they step down. I don't believe this kitchen area was original. I believe that came later. And the reason why I believe that is because of that right there. Now there are some square nails in it, but not as much as you would think. See? Those are all round nails. And most of those are roof beams that came down. So I believe this back section is not the oldest section. The front section is, and that's the pre-Civil War era structure right there. So that changes how this place would have been laid out in the 1800s, mid-1800s, even the later 1800s. So right here, this is where I want to put my first trench, right in here. I've found all kinds of coins, all kinds of jewelry right here in this spot. It seems like a very active spot. I also want to get into that little depression right there. So I'm going to put in probably a nice sized trench. A nice sized trench. It's a little rainy today, but it's not bad. It's not pouring down, so I don't have to deal with getting swamped out. But do have to deal with getting wet, and I don't mind about getting wet because I'm, part aquatic anyway, so that's the marine in me. Yeah. Alright, let's get in here. Let's dig down. I'm going to show you the layers as I find the stuff. I'm going to show you the different layers of different artifacts that we're going to be finding, and hopefully we can associate the age to those layers. And I'm trying to determine how deep this area goes to the oldest layer. At the same time, I'm looking for other features that would have been here, so I'm going to be digging quite a few trenches around here. Today, I don't know if I'm going to get more than one trench done. It depends on how deep it goes. So, but throughout my time here, as I explore this property, I'll be digging more trenches. So let's get started. Let's get in there. Let's dig a hole. See ya. Going that way. So the first thing you do, you take that top vegetable layer off, basically. Get the grass off. Yeah. Now there's still topsoil in there, and we call that the humus layer. And I'll take a trowel and I'll start cleaning it up, and we can start seeing things. That's a nut. And you just start going down. Start going down. Let's start cutting into it. It's a good idea to have a shovel, a trowel, a scraper, and an axe. You need that axe to get through the tree roots and stuff like that. The trowel we're going to use to basically scrape it down, listening for anything that hits the steel and feeling for the different grades of that soil. Basically just going to follow the contour and bring it down layer by layer by layer. Try to get it evenly and see if we can find anything in there, trails, holes, items, you name it, everything. So, and don't forget your hot cocoa. Yeah. So with your trowel, basically you're just moving material back towards you, listening for that sound. And of course that's just a nail, right? But that nail might be significant, you never know. Bring the material back, cutting nice and smooth into the layers, feeling and looking for buttons and anything that your metal detector just won't pick up. And then again, there's things in here that your metal detector should pick up that it just doesn't, because of all the other minerals and stuff like that that you're going to run into. So, and then when you run into a big root like that, you just chop it out. Yep, let's cut that down. I thought maybe this was a piece of slate or something, but it doesn't look like slate. Oh, a piece of iron. It's a piece of iron scrap. Yep, just slowly working down the layers, looking for whatever pops out. As you can see over here, this is still the vegetable layer, pretty much, going down. I don't expect to find much until we get about 3 inches, maybe 4 or 5 inches down. That's going to be the older layer. Right now we're about 2 inches down. I just ran into a nice bit of older glass. You can see that nice green. Beautiful. Yep. Nice olive green. We got something else over there too. That one's just going to be a lump of coal. Yep. Looks like there's some iron maybe. Oh, just a root. Well, about 2.5 inches down, and there's a 1953 type bottle. Piece of glass. Yeah. How do I know that? Because there's a stamp on the bottom. So this is the 50s layer. I wonder if that was plaster or something. Going much deeper. Have a little bit of bone coming up. Yeah. It's very soft. No telling what that bone went to. Probably a ham or, you know, big beef bone or something like that. I got our first piece of pottery. Looks like some kind of stoneware. You see how the soil color's changing? We're getting past that topsoil humus layer down into the older soil. That's what we want. The upper stuff, modern junk. Yeah, gotta get deep. Gotta get deep. Alright, let's take it down, see what we find. You know, it is quite possible to find a footprint in the soil. If it was muddy and someone had left their footprint in that mud and then silt came in, covered it up, it is possible to find that. Finding some brick in there, so that's probably original brick to the home. Lots of little rocks and stuff as well. There's something. There's a square nail right there, attached to some piece of metal. So, getting down to that age that I want to be at. Still have a few more inches to go before we hit the 1800s layer. This is probably still early 1900s. You can start seeing now the small flakes of coal. See them? Small flakes of coal everywhere in this soil. That is the coal era, probably during the 20s. Yep. So we're probably in the 20s right now, maybe teens. I think the teens are down a little bit more, but that's probably the 20s. Wow, the whole time you're doing this, you're just shaving. See, just shaving off that layer, looking for objects like little flakes like that. That could be something, probably, I don't know, maybe plaster. And you're just feeling the soil layers as you dig. Look at all of that charcoal in there. And you get little stones in there as well. You want to check those out, because if they're Native American, yeah. That's how I find a lot of my Native American stuff, right here. Just going down through the layers, digging. Also, you can find nice buttons, and matter of fact, let me show you right now what kind of buttons you can find. Check it out. What I like to do is I like to cut the grass back down to the topsoil layer where I'm going to be digging the entire trench length, and then I'll start on a small section, dig that down to a certain level. This gives me a shelf to stand on or sit on or kneel on while I work in that area, so it's undisturbed. And then once I get down as far as I need to go with that section, then I'll move on, chop out another chunk, and so on and so on. Now this is interesting stuff right here. It almost looks like some kind of clay brick. Yeah, but I've not found any of this around here, so a lot of times they'll use this kind of sandy clay brick for inside the fireplace. Yeah. Or it could be a big chunk of pottery. Who knows? You see that dark layer right there that comes out? That is a branch, an old branch, probably long decayed. And here's the section that is still in the ground of a root branch. Yeah, just branched out. Roots long gone. What I do is, you know how thin a button is, right? Really thin, or a marble, or something as small as that. I only go that deep as I'm scraping. I'll only scrape that much. That way I don't miss anything. Then, look at all that coal in there. Coal and brick. Then, once you get your spoils pile over here, you want to sift through it and make sure you're not missing anything. Because there is a chance you could still miss stuff, even though you're digging shallow. Is that a tooth? That looks like a tooth. See? That's what I'm talking about. Let me clean that up and I'll show you. That is a big tooth right there. Not sure what type of animal that belongs to, but you see the bone attached to it? Yep. Nice little tooth. It could be 100 years old or more. Yeah. Cool. How annoying these phones are nowadays, these cell phones. You can't even answer your phone because it's always a scam. That is so, you know, as a business, you should be able to answer your phone and say, "Hello, customer, how are you? How can I help you today?" But no, it's some automated, "I want to sell you this because you're a gullible idiot." And you answered your phone. I answered my phone because I'm a business, you know? This robocalling, scam calling stuff is really getting out of control. I'm sure you all are experiencing the same thing. It's just unreal. I don't know how that's even allowed, but good gracious. And I'm in marketing, and I would never market that way. It's just rude. Why would you want to put your business name on something that's rude? I don't know. Anyways, let's get back to it. Well, there's a nice old pottery shard there. Now these could be either painted on labels, sponged on labels, or machine applied labels. This one, it's hard to tell. It looks like it's applied, but then again it could be much older. I don't know. Let's keep looking. So what's happening here in this test pit, basically, we're down probably about, what, 10 inches, and I stopped seeing coal. There's little bits of flakes in that top, just a little bit. So what I did is I dug down even further, just to put another deeper test pit in there, and there is no more coal. So that's the top. That's the oldest layer right there. That's our 1800s. What that says is potentially a coin could be that deep, or jewelry or buttons or whatever could be that deep, embedded in this topsoil right here. That would have been topsoil in the mid 1800s. Yeah, that's where the coal stops. I imagine maybe an inch below that or 2 inches below that would be the actual 1850s layer, where they would have used wood to burn in their fireplaces instead of coal. So that's it. Let's move on. Another test pit. Well, that was fun and learned a lot. So now I know where the oldest layer is in that section where I find all my coins and jewelry and all that stuff. It wasn't a whole lot of pottery, which surprises me. But now I want to dig right here in the very back. This would have been the very back of this property. Not the original. This is one of my theories, of course, because of the round nails that I'm finding in this back kitchen structure. I believe the original structure sat right there. It was just a double-story federal with 2 chimneys on it. Then they built this later, probably in the early teens, I would say. So anything could be up underneath this, but definitely we want to check out this area right here and the very back where they would have stepped out. There would have been a door right there. This is a back stepping stone. Yeah, so let's dig this out, do a test pit, and check it out. Lifting up this old roofing material, I already found a couple little goodies in there. Some kind of screw top, probably 30s, 40s, 50s, something like that. But if you remember, the other day I lifted up one of those and found a button So I expect there's going to be some stuff in here. Pantyhose are very popular. They were very popular in the 20s. There's some pantyhose right there. Is that a bone? No. That's old pantyhose. Alright, let's dig this up. Just a couple shovels and I'm already into a lot of coal. A lot of coal. And a little bit of glass as well. You need to sift through all this stuff. I don't have a sifter today because it's too darn wet. Little piece of iron. So you're just gonna have to use your eyes best you can. A lot of this stuff blends right in. Old pantyhose. That's not very old. Looking for buttons, for marbles, for pottery, iron, glass. There's a nice piece of pottery right there, stoneware. Yeah, nice. Glass. Let's keep going. There's a nice teacup, decorative. That's applied color. Yep. I got it nice and brushed down, topsoil layer with some of the bigger roots gone. Immediately I found a nice little brass hinge. Now this is unique because, you know, I come through here with my metal detector and I never heard that. The reason, and that was shallow. I'm not even an inch in the soil yet, and the reason being is because there's so much other mineral around here. And this is everything I've found so far in this top layer. And there's just so much mineral that, you know, your detector is not going to pick up everything. So, and that's why we search like this as well. Yeah. What I'm feeling for as I go down is I'm feeling for that compaction layer. Stepping off of this step, there would have been a lot of compaction. Kids stepping here, adults stepping here. The trackway would have had compaction, and on that trackway should be lots of items. I just found this. I just pulled this up out of the ground. This is a early cord. I don't know if that was a switch or what. I don't see anything that goes in it. But it's in pristine condition. I'll save that just as a little relic, probably from the 40s or 50s, maybe even 30s, I don't know. There's a nice square nail right there. And you just go through the layers, bit by bit, nice and slow, looking for all these little pieces. They're gonna pop up. That's pretty hefty duty right there. And you see how soft this is over here. That's a little teacup handle. There's a little ashy layer in there. More pantyhose. See that? More pantyhose over there. Might be in a good spot. Coal. Lots of coal. There's a little bit of stone down here. They probably put some stone because of the rainy days. Coal. I'm not pulling out every single piece of glass. Glass is very common. I'm looking for the unique stuff. The whole bottles would be nice. and the buttons. And again, just look through your spoils pile after you've gone and scraped it, just to check it again. I just plop everything up there, stuff that I'm going to look at later. One of the good things to do is get you a pile like this started over here and just brush it up there and look to see what falls and rolls down. Look to see what's rolling down it. And that's how you identify a lot of this stuff. If you don't see anything rolling down that's decent, and you just push it back and you start again and keep digging down. Looky there. Do you see it? Do you see it right there? That one's almost complete. Some of the handle's missing. Oh, it's all missing on both sides. That's a little jackknife. We find these a lot metal detecting. But I never found that one because it was in here with all of this mineral. Tons of nails and tons of roofing material and everything else. But this is a key spot right off that back, right out of that back door. Key spot. Now, this is the center of the back door right here. As you see, my pit goes that way because I'm anticipating them going that way. But then again, they could be coming straight back or coming straight out this way, which I'll open this up later on. Let's see what's in here first. That's a nice little find. Little jackknife. Try to figure out what make that is. Got a large round object. Where's my knife? There it is. Oh, I thought maybe a doorknob. Might still be. I don't know. I figured I would bring you along with me today and do a video on this. I do this often, but I don't ever video it because, you know, it takes so much energy to get in here and dig and stuff. But I'll share it with you today. Why not? I don't know. Something to something. Put it with the rest of our finds over there. Where are all the buttons and marbles? Ooh. Lots of pottery, lots of glass. You know, usually never find maker's marks on these, which is interesting. And glass. Looks like a whole bottle got smashed up over here. All that coal. It's quite possible they brought their coal in through the back here. And a lot of stone I know I go pretty quick. Another big stud nail. Coal. Bone. That was cool. I found a tooth to something. Usually you don't have the teeth along with your bones when you're eating, but apparently they had a whole head. Could have been pork. Nails. Large timber nails. Alright, let's keep looking. A large piece of pottery came up. It just has a simple glaze on it. That looks like the inside that was actually shaped. It's kind of funny because there's absolutely nothing on the outside. I don't know. Interesting. Yep. You could tell a lot from pottery, though. What kind of money they had, for one. Were they buying expensive pottery or cheap stuff? Was this for a plant or was this for food? Yeah. This layer in here, it looks like it's getting quite compact, and it looks like it's headed off over that way. And you know, it has a lot of charcoal in it and debris, which they could have been dumping from the fireplace. This could be ash from the fireplace. Very convenient just to take it out of there and walk through the door and plop right here. Yep. Let's keep looking. Yeah, big crusty layer of thrown debris. These are all square nails. So this layer has some age to it. There's a chunk of iron right there that was in there. Could have been part of a pot or something. You know, make sure you're looking for clay marbles as well. They're going to be hard to spot. Look at that. We got pottery down there in that layer. That's our old layer down there. I want to hit that nice 1800s layer. Well, you can't see through that. I don't know. Check that out later. Let's see what this little piece of pottery is here. Yeah, that's right down into that nice old layer. And that thing looks brand new. The material's going to come out pretty much the same color as the soil usually. That's nice right there. Whatever that was. That's an older piece. We can date pottery. At least get a good idea. It's still pretty chunky in here. And glass. Or is that pottery? That's pottery. Yep. More of that nice pottery right there. It's cleaner. Can't tell if that's coal or charcoal. There is a difference. I think that's charcoal. If I had a magnifying glass out here, I could tell you for sure. Charcoal is made out of wood. Coal is basically old, chunky, hard rock, pretty much. Big difference. Charcoal is something you have to make. Coal comes natural out of the ground. Yep. Okay, folks, that's original ground level, 1800s. And as you can see, there wasn't much activity in that. There's still a little bit of charcoal to be found in there. See it right there? There's a speck. Just a little bit. There's another speck right there. Just a little bit of activity, which is typical. In the 1800s, they just pretty much burnt wood at these old homes. I'll do one deep test pit in here, like I did the other one. I'll just go straight down, and then we'll start working our way through the side. We'll start checking out all this material to see what's over here as well. Yeah, you can see the color change? There's still a little bit of dark specks down in there. This is 1700s, 1700s, and 1800s. And this is our 1800 layer right here that dates to this property. And then all of that coming up, basically up to the year 2019. This is going to be our 1930s, 20s. This is going to be our late 1800s, 1890s, early 1900s layer. And coming up in here, you got your 40s and 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, up to 2019. Yep. Well, now let's start working our way over. And this is the easiest part. Basically, just draw yourself a line, and you just start cutting into the bank, going over, dropping all the material down into your dug hole. And then all that material over there can go over into that hole. And that's why archaeology is so destructive, because you're removing original soil, and you're taking out those layers, and you're putting back the dirt differently than what it was found originally. So, but that's why you record what you're doing. If you find anything of interest, you make note of it, the depth, and of course you're always trying to find datable material. So yeah, you could really see the datable material layers in this shot, can't you? And look at that. That's our oldest probably when the home was being built era right there. Soil layer. Look at all that charcoal. Big chunk of charcoal right there. I don't think that might be actually anthracite. It doesn't smell like it. It's hard to tell. If you heat that up, if you have a lighter and you heat it up, you should get a distinct coal smell. This is my oldest layer down there, right there. I'm just watching to see if anything falls out. Lots of charcoal. And then my newest layer up here. Definitely gonna have stuff in it because this place was used up until the 50s. Roots are usually a little easier to play with. See, you got 1940s, 50s glass, maybe even 30s, who knows. Probably 50s glass. I haven't found any cork tops in here yet. Yeah, that looks like charcoal to me. Comes out of a fire. Now, I'm betting they were doing a lot of dumping here from their fire. Probably when it was raining, or look at that big clump of tangled mess right there. Iron. And that's down in our late 1800s, early 1900s layer right there. That's how you date this stuff. Get down to the bottom layer, right there. You know there's no activity going on. You know the approximate date of the home and this property. And you start looking in those layers. And that's how you tell how old this stuff is. Now, if you were just metal detecting and you dug a hole in the ground, you wouldn't be able to tell that until you came and tested it with a dug pit like that. Yeah. Nice big bone found in the late 1800s, early 1900s layer. Yeah. No telling. It was found right down in there. Right about there. Keep track of all your pottery. Know where you found it. It's also a good idea to lay your stuff out in age as you find it. Deep stuff, and not so deep all the way up to the top of the surface is a good way to lay your finds out. But looking through it, I can tell. So a piece of rubber up here in this top layer, that's probably 1930s, 40s, 50s. That could even be, well, it's going to be 1950s most likely. Because traffic stopped being used here. And no more use after the 50s. This place went into meltdown. Here you go, 1940s, maybe 50s layer. There was a lot of use in the 40s and 50s here. I don't know if it was still a school then. I know the Boy Scouts were using it. Because I found Boy Scout stuff. I'm just digging off that top 50s and 40s and 30s layer. That seems to be the richest layer. Usually in the 40s, that's when things started picking up as far as debris. Anything younger than that usually find a lot of iron and brass, but the 40s, I mean, you're gonna find tons of everything. Plastic, iron, you name it. It was just such a mass production time, and everybody just went crazy. It was so busy with the war and everything, so activity around the homes just got insanely busy, and that's why you find so much debris from the 40s and 50s. The 20s and 30s weren't so bad, but you can still find a lot of debris. Earlier than that, you don't find much. Pottery usually. Little bits of glass and iron. So, let's keep going. I got something brassy that just popped up from the very bottom of this hole. Might be clockworks. Old clockworks. Looks like. Yeah, that's what that is. An old clock, probably from the late 1800s. Or definitely early 1900s. That looks like a chunk of iron right there. Let's beat on that and see what that looks like. Yeah, so you know those pieces I've been finding that, you know, I said maybe it looks like a step on a kid's playground or something like that? That's what I believe that is. And that's coming from the late 1800s layer down there. So that, we can probably safely date that to the late 1800s. And I've been finding those everywhere in here, and they're usually always deep. Right about where that was. That one's toast. Toast. And more bone. Just never know what you're gonna find. Lots of charcoal down there. Yeah, you see that? That is not coal. That is charcoal. That is part of an old log, old piece of wood that had turned into charcoal from being in the fireplace. You can actually see the fibers right there. Yeah, and it was dumped back in the late 1800s. Right down there. And this is all dumping from the late 1800s, very early 1900s, up until probably 1920s, I would say, of ash coming out of that fireplace. Lots of coal. Yeah, it looks like a couple pieces of iron coming off the very top layer of the 1800s. There's a large chunk there. There's iron in there. And there's another large chunk right there. What were they? I don't know. Let's see if we can figure it out. Oh, that looks like slag. See it? Were they doing metalworking here? Or heating up something beyond what they should have been heating up in that fireplace? That is metal slag. I might have been doing some metalworking back here. Maybe this was a little metalworking area back when, before this actual kitchen area was added on. The mid 18th century or mid 1800s home site had a little forge area back here. That's slag. That's what that says. They were doing something with iron. Is this going to be more slag? That actually looks like an iron object embedded in there. That's old. That is old. You see how encrusted this stuff is on there? That is old. There's no telling. Maybe this was the part he was trying to fix. I don't know. It's heavy. I don't know. That's interesting. Very interesting to find slag inside of what used to be an old home site. Started out as most likely a farm, and then turned into a school, which, you know, is one of my goals, is to try to find out when did this become a school. And the easiest way to find out is, well, when do you start finding kids stuff? When do you find kids related stuff, you know? So that definitely 1800s, maybe early 1900s, very early, single digits, ironworking, says there probably wasn't a school here at that time. It was probably just the farm. And there's more in there. I'm betting that's what all this is. Could be related to a... Oh, that's just a rock, is it? Yeah, just related to some steel working, which most farmers back then actually did their own steel working. It was just so much easier than trying to find a blacksmith and spend the money. It didn't take much effort to build a little kiln and heat this stuff up and do a little bit of welding or a little bit of riveting. Nice old soda bottle, crown top. That could be 20s. Yeah, definitely. That is nice, for sure. Don't forget to look through your spoils pile once in a while before you bury everything. Because stuff gets past you. It does. It will. For sure. I'd like to find some more school slate. Let's keep going. You see the pantyhose right there? Very popular in the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s. Yeah, that's right up there in that layer. I cleaned it up again so you can see. That is our original layer back when this house was probably being built. Right there. And then it just gets busier throughout the years, the decades. And you see that one layer is just super busy. And they were roaring. It might have been the 20s. Oh, there we go. We got another piece of iron right laying on the very bottom of this pile. The oldest period of occupation during this time. Nice big chunk of iron right there. And if you dig under it, oh yeah, see that's laying right on that clay layer. That could have, oh, is that pottery? And there's pottery down there. That's our oldest layer. Nice. That is a stamp right there. See it? Beautiful. That can tell us a lot. I'm going to save that piece and research it. Definitely late 1800s, maybe possibly early 1900s. So we'll research that and see what it says. I don't know if you can see it in my hand. I don't know if the camera focuses on it. There you go. Nice. Let's save that. We'll put that in the pouch. Something to research. Look for more. That's a big piece of iron right there, laying on a bed of coal. And it goes right underneath, quite a ways. Yep, that's our old layer right there. That's our old layer. Alright, let me keep digging at it and I'll show you when I pull it in. We got a couple things going on here. We got that iron piece that I told you about, another piece above it, and we have glass laying down there on the very bottom. Now, there's always the possibility that this was dug out and that glass fell down in there. But I'm not seeing evidence of digging in here. This is all gradual increase of basic, years through the layers through the years. That is old glass right there. That's the old stuff. You want to see what it looks like? That's old glass. Very thin. It looks like window pane. Another piece of iron right there. And another piece of glass way down there. Some green. Yep. Alright, this is ready to come out. Let's pull that out. Let's see what we get. That is a big bolt. other iron attached to it. That's a big bolt right there. They usually use something like that to tie the structure in, log structures and stuff like that back in the old days. Yeah, big bolts. That's a big piece of iron right there. Alright, we got this piece right there. Let's see what that is. Looks like a square nail. Yep, just an old square nail. Ooh, more pottery down there. Again, this is my oldest layer right here in that clay. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? That's an applied label, applied color. It's not painted. It's not sponged. That would be applied in the process of making this. Usually in the mold. That's just a piece of round stock. Maybe an old bolt or something. No telling. Let me look in here for more of that pottery real quick. See if it's any deeper. Where you find one piece, you usually find more. I don't see any more in that deeper stuff. Alright, let's keep going. Let's keep digging through here. So there it is. I dug a trench completely across where the back door would have been, and found a whole bunch of stuff. Found the old layers, found the new layers, all kinds of stuff in there. I don't know what that is. I want to take that and clean that up and find out. So it looks like a pendant of some sort. It's made out of iron, which is weird. Got little bits of pottery, little bits of glass, some older glass, some newer glass. The pottery's always nice. Yeah, it's always nice to date. Semi-dateable stuff. The one with the writing on it is the best piece. Got some slag, which is strange. So all that stuff came from here. Yeah. I was expecting a little bit more, but it looks like the busiest times at this property were in the 20s. Definitely the 20s. And it started to teeter off in the 40s and 50s, and then it just ended in the 50s. So I'm not finding a whole lot of stuff from the 1800s. A little bit of iron, a little bit of pottery. That's typical. Wasn't a busy farm around the house, but still some treasures to find. Alright, let me fill this hole in and I'll decide where to dig next. Yeah, let's figure this one out. Just gonna go around and do some random potholes to see what comes up, and that's what I got already. Look at that, nice purple pink glass handle to something. Maybe find a nice trash pit that isn't a burn pit. There's a burn pit over there and there's a burn pit up there. I imagine this might have been a trash pit. I don't see any burning going on. We'll do some potholes, we'll check. Yeah, when you pothole, same thing as like in a trench, but here you're going straight down pretty much as fast as you can. Straight down to the bottom where that old layer is. You should stop finding debris and just take a peek. Take a peek up through the walls and see what you see. And then, of course, take a peek at what you pulled out to see what they are. Got some glass and iron. And that's a round nail right there up in that layer. So we can say that's probably our 20s layer, maybe 30s layer right there. Let's do some more potholes. Now there was absolutely nothing in that one, right directly off the back of the house, which is strange. So when you pothole, there's one. You want to go every 5 feet or so. I went 10 feet. I'm going to basically go around the structure, do a 360 around the structure and see where the hot spots are. Yeah, just a little bit of window pane in that one. Moving on. And that one only produced one piece of glass as well. But this glass, that's either from an oil lamp or, yeah, one of those lamps. Probably an oil lamp. Yep. Just the outside cover lens. I broke my shovel in this hole. There's a lot of stuff in here. Iron, glass, roots. It broke right there. It's cracked. If I use it anymore, it's going to split completely. But anyway, let's take a look at this stuff. This is how you find hot spots the easy way. Just the little potholes. Yeah, that's a nice piece of glass at the bottom. Nice big old chunk right there. Some iron. What do we get? No idea. Nails. I had to get my axe. That's a good thing I got another shovel, huh? This one's got iron in it. I felt it down below. And a big root. That's the root that got my shovel right there. That's the one. Yeah, more glass coming up from down there. That looks like window pane. Look at how thin that is. Alright, let me keep... Still finding glass deeper and deeper in this one. It's so hard to tell with this glass. That's got imperfections in it, so that's going to be early teens. Yep, maybe even before the teens. And I'm down to that nice clay layer right there. That's as far as I want. And we found some goodies in that one. What this does is potholing. It's an archaeological method. Instead of digging a huge trench to find whatever, because I can't get geophysics in here. There's no way I'm going to get magnetometers or resistivity meters. There's nothing. I can't get ground penetrating radar in here to look for things. There's too much junk, too many trees in the way. So you got to do it the old method and just do potholes, do some random kind of well thought out trenches when you're looking and trying to figure out this. But you could find old structures that you didn't know about. You can find pits, debris pits, burn pits. You can find outhouses. You can find all that stuff with just random digging. Yeah, just go around and just dig holes. Potholes, fill them back in. Yep, see ya. I'm getting some pottery and glass down in the 20s layer down here. That's got a little bit of pattern to it. Yep. And a ginormous root. It pays to sharpen your axe. and mine is sharp. As you can see where I've hit a couple rocks. You sharpen it and breaks the point off when you hit hard things. That's the layer I'm looking for down there. That tells me I've hit the bottom. That really dark layer down there. Just a little bit of pottery, so some activity in here. Not a ton. And what's this? It almost looks like another piece of slate. But it could be coal. Yeah, coal. Coal is everywhere around here. Alright, keep potholing. I'm looking for the lower areas. I'm looking for the higher areas. And I'm just plunking them in there. Well, we potholed the back, worked our way around. Now I'm right in the front. There's the front door, right there. So let's see what's here. Nothing but a rock at the bottom. Not a single shard of pottery. You see, the thing is, most people didn't use the front door. That was for special occasions when guests came over and stuff like that. They used the side door or the back door. Yeah. So, let's keep working our way around. Pothole this place. Yep. To find them. Find this stuff. See ya. Is that what I think it is? It's a fireball, red and yellow marble. Oh, it feels funny. Feels like plastic. No, maybe it is glass. Yeah, that's glass. We got another marble. That's a nice one. That's a dateable. Although I don't know the date. We'll find out. Just right here in the side of the house. Yep. Look at this fancy thing. That is pretty neat. I don't know what you would have used a big hook like that for. But that looks really nice. Kind of hand forged. I'm going to save that. Look at that beautiful pattern on there. I'm going to save that. And there's still more down in there. Also, found this old piece of glass here. That's probably from the 20s or teens maybe. Let's see what we got here. This is just doing random test pits. That's nice. I got two pieces to that. I'll put that together and find out what that is. That is really nice pottery right there. That's the nice stuff. That's not the cheap. That's not cheap. Let's keep going in this test pit. Look at that. That is a very large smoky quartz crystal right there that popped up. Nice. Give that to the girls for their rock collection. You can see it. Beautiful. Yeah, it's starting to rain a little bit more, but you know, interesting enough, I've got holes all around this property, and the majority of my pottery finds and stuff like that is either in the back or up to the side over that way, where I was finding all those mason tops. This back area is pretty much covered, but it is a burn pit. It's a huge burn pit over here. Still haven't found any privies. Where did they put them? My goodness. You know, they had them here, and as many decades as this place was in operation, they've had probably more than one. So, good grief, you know. It's tough. I've dug a lot of holes. Learned a lot, but dug a lot of holes. Let's keep going. Let's keep digging. See ya. I might be fogging up. Sorry about that. Got some glass down here with some embossing. I don't know if that says grape. It's very hard to yeah, I don't know what that is. Might be grape. It's pretty thick, like a Coca-Cola. We'll take that with us and research it. Let's see what else is down there. Maybe the rest of it can tell us. Nope, that can't tell us anything. What about that piece? Nope. And that's what you find. You find bits and pieces, and that's it. You won't find the whole thing. It's just very odd. A little piece of pottery. Oh yeah, that's that dark stuff, that darkware or whatever you call that. It would have been black. Nice. We'll save that. See if we can date it. Let me keep digging this hole. Nice big chunk of something. Maybe it'll tell us something. No, just that plain. Now I have the piece that should have the maker's mark on the bottom right here. Nope. Can we get the rest out of there maybe? Of course not. There's some pottery over here. That's an old top. There's some pottery. As I get closer to this mess right there, let's keep. That was some fancy stuff right there. It has looks like silver applied to it. A vase or something like that. Looks kind of melted. Huh. Oh geez, are we gonna get our first whole bottle out of here? It doesn't look old. These little bottles, they tend to last a long time. Oh, it's got a big huge chip out of the bottom of it. Little medicine or something, or maybe something for cooking. I cannot read that. It's got a patent pending. Oh, it's got a patent date on it. I think it says 1918. I'll clean that up. Might be a little vanilla extract or something like that. Interesting little bottle. We'll save it, even though it's damaged. I'm still headed towards the debris. It seems like there's loaded with stuff in here, so let's check. There we go. A little porcelain button that you will never find with a metal detector. That's a nice little porcelain button. We'll add that to the collection of non-metal objects found RelicSeekr. Yeah, sweet. I'd like to determine the age of that too. Hey folks, how's it going? Yep. So I think I'm done. Let me show you what I found. Interesting stuff. It's kind of muddy. Don't worry about that. It is what it is. I got some nice old pottery. I believe this belongs to the old farmhouse that actually was here before it was a school. We have this and we have that, our oldest pottery. Our newest pottery would be this. I believe that's for our school, for the children and stuff like that to eat on. It's not that old, and it's kind of really cheap stuff. Got that nice porcelain button. We have something here that, I don't know, reminds me of something that I'm going to clean up. It's too muddy right now. Something else, don't know. Jackknife, we got a nice little marble. That's muddy. We have some kind of iron disky thing that needs to be cleaned up.
and we have that tooth that belongs to some kind of critter. And we have a whole bunch of glass that's not really old. This one's probably in the teens or so, and then the rest of it's probably a little bit newer. Nice crystal, quartz crystal, and we have some stoneware. Yeah, so it's been fun. I enjoy coming out here and doing this stuff and learning what I can about these properties, and I learned a lot today, put in a lot of holes, and learned a lot about this property, where things were, how things were, where that old age layer is, and all the rest of the era ages as we work our way up in the soil. So know a lot more about this property, and that's it. Nice day to come out and relic hunt in the rain. I hope you learned something today. Thanks for watching. See you on the next hunt.